Hi everyone, Nate coming back at you with Dad-like behavior. I've had some feedback so far on a couple of the other videos, and so I want to thank you for that. But today we're going to talk a little bit about setting some expectations. I like to keep my house pretty clean, and I'm a little scared of moving into a house that has teenagers and not the level of organization that I'm used to. So that's what we're going to be talking about today on Dad-like behavior. All right, so we want to talk about expectations. Like I said, I have a house that's, I think, relatively clean. I try to keep things put away. There are times when stuff doesn't get picked up all the time. I will readily admit that. In fact, sometimes there's a pile of dirty clothes on my floor because I haven't gotten them into the washer yet to be washed. But I think that I'm having a little bit of anxiety about moving into a house that isn't super clean. I know that my girlfriend tries. I'm not knocking that. I think it's hard when you're a single parent and you've got three teenagers. But I think I'm interested in trying to set some expectations there. Now, I'm not talking about like museum level cleanliness here. I don't need to have everything completely spotless, and I'm not going to go through with a white glove and check for dust. But I think that we can make a house a lot more livable when we're going to add another person to it with just a little bit of organization and some routines maybe that will kind of help keep things clean rather than feeling we constantly have to do a big cleaning. Maybe we can make it so that it's we kind of do small stuff periodically and that will keep things clean. My girlfriend's house isn't like a pigsty. She's not a hoarder or anything like that. But she does have a lot of stuff, and that's something that I have tried to do in my life is try to downsize a lot. And so moving in there, I'm going to have to downsize. Uh, and I'm happy to do that. I've got lots and lots of stuff that I can get rid of, and I'm hoping that she's willing to downsize as well. Actually, I know she is, but she's kind of, I think, a little anxious about being able to meet my standard, and I think that I'm not really sure that she and her kids need to meet my standard. I think we need to come up with a standard that we can all live with so that none of us freaks out and runs out trying to pull their hair out. Although, as you can see, it would be hard for me to get a good grip on it. So, one idea I came up with was like a 10-minute reset. Every night, as we're kind of getting ready to settle down and go to bed for the night, we're done with dinner, we're done watching our television or whatever we're going to do for the evening, that we just go around and like clean up one area or pick up one space. And I think we could get to a point where there's hardly anything to do on those 10-minute resets. But it might mean somebody's got to do the dishes, or it might mean somebody's got to unload the dishwasher and put things away, or somebody has to kind of clean up the mess from the dog and cat food because these animals get the food everywhere. So that's an idea that I have, and you can kind of tell me if that sounds like a good plan and something that seems reasonable for two adults and three early teenagers to take care of. I think the real thing that I'm worried about is how do I approach this with the kids. I've already talked to my girlfriend about this idea, and I think she seems like she feels it's pretty reasonable. But how do I approach these kids with it? I'm not their dad, not trying to be their dad, but I am trying to live in a house where I'm going to be, relatively sane. And so I think I would like some ideas about how to approach these teenagers with this. They don't want to be lectured at. In fact, one of them has been kind of vocal about, oh, I'm getting another lecture. And so they're kind of at that age where they're not super interested in being talked at. And that's one thing I've tried to do in my conversations with them is that this move isn't something that's just being imposed on them. I want them to feel like they're part of the conversation. And so I want to do that with this proposal of a 10-minute reset. Okay, so what I'm asking for here is, again, just feedback. I want to stress that I don't know what I'm doing. I have only lived by myself pretty much. I have lived with roommates who I had to clean up after, but I need people who have been step parents, people who have had step parents, whether successful or not. If you feel like you had a step parent who wasn't so great, and you have some advice for what not to do, like what you saw that really rubbed you the wrong way, or that as a step parent you absolutely did wrong, I want to avoid those things. So anything you can give me about my planning to tell me if I'm making a mistake already with my mentality, that would be great. And something that people have said already is you and your girlfriend are partners and you have to be on the same page. And I definitely get that. And I think both of us are kind of walking into the situation with a little uncertainty because she has not had, like she was married and then she got divorced, and then that whole time has been, just her and her kids half time, right? So she doesn't exactly have an idea about step parenting. And so I don't, again, we can get on the same page, but she may not know the best way for me to go into this situation. So that's dad-like behavior for today. Thanks for joining me, and make sure to give me your feedback. Thanks.